All right, we are go for launch.
Right. Good evening and welcome to the April 8th, 2026 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Councilmember Safranek,
Here.
Councilmember Owens,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. Excuse me. We'll begin with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the preceding meeting from March 18th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Abstain.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Prior to our public hearings, we're going to pass a resolution. Billy?
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 8-145, 2026. Whereas the Henrietta Youth Board has selected 26 exceptional young people to be inducted into the year 2026 Youth Hall of Fame because of their special accomplishments, and whereas these individuals have made significant contributions to the Henrietta community and or have made a great personal achievement, and whereas the Henrietta Town Board recognizes the contributions and achievements of these young people, therefore be it resolved. And as I read out your name, if you are present, please stand. Iman Alim.
Should I second it?
Mohram Al-Mansiri. Ahmad Akajan. Alexandra Arthman Martin. Angela Boucher. Joseph Buchholz. Ryan Bazard. Sanaya Campbell. Shahina Sujatharan. Andrew Coleman. David Covert. Simra Ahmad. Phoenix Hoffman. Luma Hussein. Awab Ibrahim. Christopher Lewis. John Liu. Daniela McIntosh. Sybil Montero. Piper Morrow. Claire Phillips. Bao Smith. Bibi Medina Usmani. Zion Walker. Kayla Wilson. And Kishomika Yogonathan. If I called your name, please stand. As we are congratulated by the town for your induction into the year 2026 Youth Hall of Fame and are recognized for your positive influence on the quality of life in our community.
I second that motion.
Becky, in case you couldn't hear it over the applause, Rob did second the motion. So I'd just like to say congratulations to everybody. You join a large group of individuals who have essentially been inducted before you and should be very proud of your accomplishments. Again, it's 26 out of, I don't know, class 600, 800, I don't know what the graduating class is. So
it's, you know, it's a quite an elite group you've joined, and I congratulate you.
This is probably one of the proudest moments that we have as a town board, is to recognize some of the most outstanding youth in our community. And I also want to recognize all the loved ones that are here with you, that have helped support you as you've gone through this journey. And I know that you have a bright future. And I hope that you continue to look back fondly at Henrietta and invest here in the community that you started in.
Congratulations. It's exciting to see all of the accomplishments that you've done. Congratulations to your families, who I'm sure were very supportive in all your efforts. Again, congratulations.
Yeah, I'd like to offer my congratulations to all the recipients. It's a great honor. You are a part of a very select few that get this award. And I'm very proud to see what you've done, and we want you to continue to be leaders and keep succeeding in our town and in your life. Congratulations to you all.
Yep. Congratulations to all you, everyone, and your families.
All right. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to come up and speak? Anyone from the
Youth board?
youth board? Certainly to mention what's going next.
Hi, my name is Anita Tikachek, and I'm the liaison from the Recreation Department to the Youth Board. And this is a fantastic crew that we have this year that are being inducted. These kids have dealt with and done more than many adults have done in their lifetime, and we are so very proud of them. And they actually, this is our 50th anniversary, and they joined 998 other students who have been inducted. So congratulations to all.
Congrats. You can take a seat now. Thank you so much for letting us recognize you.
Although, wait, before you go, we still have to vote and make it official. We often forget on this part of the thing because we get so excited. Congratulations, everybody. So, is there any further comments from the public? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. And congratulations again, and enjoy the reception downstairs. Is now.
There's an echo. So-
There goes our big crowd. All right, first up, we have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to expand permissible uses in the R1 zoning districts by obtaining a special use permit. So this particular local law, what it does is we have a number of uses in the rural residential district that are specific to that there are additional uses for agriculture. And we still have a couple farms in our other residential districts. And rather than do spot rezoning and rezone those farms out of the, R115 or R120 zones and into rural residential, we've felt it just made more sense to allow any parcel that's 5 acres or larger, which is essentially the minimum lot size for rural residential, that we would allow any lot larger than that to be able to apply for a special use permit for one of those additional agricultural uses that's in the rural residential district. So we don't have a specific applicant for this. We're trying to get out ahead of stuff. We prefer to do this stuff neutrally and not in response to an application. I will say there have a couple people who've been discussing the possibilities and, you know, asking whether those uses are allowed in the rural residential. Two of the farms located on, just lost his name, where the post office is.
Good Burlette.
Good Burlette, thank you. Two of the farms on Good Burlette have discussed the possibility. Again, they don't have any particular plans. They have not submitted any application, but they have mentioned it. And, you know, when we were talking about this, we said we thought that this made more sense than doing rezoning, because we try to avoid spot rezoning where I rezone a parcel or two. We could have actually done this with regards to the change on Brooks Road. But the majority of the residents on Brooks Road preferred to rezone the entire road, the entire area into rural residential to protect against any subdivisions that can happen in the other residential properties, residential districts, excuse me. You know, this basically allows, if, to give you an example, if there's a farm that's struggling, and we've had this happen a number of times, they're struggling to make it ends meet financially because, you know, we only have one farm in all of Henrietta that's bigger than 100 acres. They can't compete with these 1,000, 10,000 acre farms from an economy of scale. And so one of the things to help preserve our agricultural heritage, we came up with these additional uses so that these farms can, for instance, take 25% of their acreage, put up a solar array, and with the revenue from that solar array, help keep the farm aloft. And I know of at least 3 or 4 farms that have done this and have kept the farm alive. Without it, at least 2 of them would have sold to developers, and we'd have subdivisions where today we still have farms. So, you know, again, it was primarily set up for the rural residential area south of the Thruway, but we still have a handful of farms north of the Thruway. So that's why we're doing this. With that explained, is there anybody who wishes to speak with regards to this, the change in town code?
Just want to make sure everybody knows that they'll still have to go for each special use permit.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just use one of the uses. You have to obtain a special use permit in order to do one of those uses. And then, you know, we would look at, the town board would look at, does that use make sense in the setting it's in? So if it was a 5-acre lot put in the middle of a bunch of homes, it doesn't make sense to then say, okay, I'm going to take 25% of that 5 acres and put up a solar array. But if it was, you know, 50-acre farm, it might make sense to take, you know, 12.5 acres for a solar array so that that farm can continue to farm. So, any other questions? Yeah, I will just note so again, following up on what Councilman Stafford said, you know, one of the things you look at in a special use permit is its fit to the community, into the neighborhood, right? Does it make sense? Is it going to drastically alter the character of that neighborhood? In which case, that's a reason to deny.
I was just going to make a comment that I think this is we're thinking ahead and not like you said, like when it comes up to us respond, we're thinking about anticipating what could happen. Also, it's probably helpful for the farmers to have alternatives so they know they can keep their farm and be able to have other options on their farming. It's really important to kind of keep that especially for small farmers, giving them options so they can continue the work they're doing. I think that's really important.
All right, thank you. You're gonna say something? Beth?
Yeah, I was just gonna address, I think there had been some concerns with regards to the property at the Dome Arena, but this does not encompass
No.
that property.
Yeah, so the Dome Arena, first off, is zoned commercial B1. It's not zoned residential, so this doesn't apply to it at all. There was some discussion about the previous shutdown of the southwest quadrant. DGIS, again, had nothing to do with the dome. That was lands south of the thruway. There was this proposal by my predecessor to rezone a bunch of farmland into industrial. And actually, the three of us, when we first got elected, the very first regular town board meeting, we shut the DGIS down and ended that permanently. So
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with any of that. And again, there's no way, there was a concern someone raised as to whether they could do it without a special use permit. No, the code specifically says it must be done with a special use permit. What they had searched through AI didn't answer contextually properly. So what AI was saying was that, yes, you can put special uses in the code that don't require a special use permit. You can, but that's not what we're doing. We're saying you can only get these additional uses upon obtaining a special use permit. So there were a number of other incorrect things but we've hit on enough of them. Like I said, the concerns really do not apply here. Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
And as this is the second public hearing for this local law, I'm going to close the public hearing. We extended it to this
You
meeting.
got something to say?
Anybody online?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't see anyone online. Is there anyone online, Becky?
We do have someone online, but they do not have their hand raised.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then no problem. Appreciate it. A lot of times we can see the other individuals up there, but I don't think. So again, hearing no further comments, I'm going to close the public hearing to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to expand permissible uses on large parcels in R1 zoning districts by obtaining a special use permit. Next up, we have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the provisions of the tax exemption for volunteer firefighter and ambulance personnel. So we'd adopted that exemption sometime in the past. I don't remember how far back. But the state changed some of the conditions and allowances, and so we're just adopting those updates. And for example, it used to be a survivor of a firefighter. Their exemption would end if they ever remarried. Now that exemption does not go away as long as they're in that property. So I don't know if anybody has any comments.
I had a question and I was gonna ask it the other day. Does this include firefighters, volunteer firefighters who might volunteer for a different district who live in Henrietta? Which I
don't remember.
know of one in
Right, I don't remember which way this ended up. Dan, do you know that answer?
I'd ask Amy, but
Okay.
I don't recall that. I don't think you specifically addressed it. It was discussed, and I don't think it was specifically addressed.
I'm gonna move this.
Yep.
We probably should have sent it down with him.
Yeah.
So I'm here. This is Amy, Town Assessor. It does not include anybody who's living in Henrietta and volunteering for another district. It only includes Henrietta volunteers.
Thank you. I was just curious
Yeah,
more than anything
right.
else.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Amy.
I have another question, Amy. If the surviving spouse moves out of Henrietta, are they still, if they stay in Henrietta and move into a different house, they still get the benefit, right?
That's correct. Wherever they live in Henrietta, yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Something that came up at the workshop, I'll note that Mike noted. It says for volunteer, firefighter, and ambulance personnel, the volunteer modifies both of those. So it's for volunteers that are either volunteer firefighters or volunteer ambulance personnel. Any other questions, comments? And again, as this was a continuation, public hearing, I am going to close the public hearing for the local law to amend the provisions of the tax exemption for volunteer firefighter and ambulance personnel. Next up, we have a notice to perform work for the Doyle Security Access Road at 792 Calkins Road. The maintenance of that road, even though it's in the parcel that belongs to Doyle Security, is actually the folks, it's the access road to what used to be known as Suburban Plaza is now Town Center Plaza. So they're the ones actually responsible for it. I will note that they did respond immediately upon receiving the notice. They've been in communication. They were reaching out to folks to repair it. The asphalt plants just reopened on Monday. I'm just seeing if I've gotten any email because I sent them something today if they had a schedule. So, but they apparently do not have a schedule yet today. Becky, I don't know if you want to throw the recent photos up. Do you have the ones I took this afternoon or yesterday? I guess it was, or maybe it was this morning. I don't know. I've lost track. So as you can see, there's some significant potholes. There's one in particular that is a wheel eater. In fact, they had a orange safety cone in it. I pulled it out to take the pictures, but they've had an orange safety cone in it. And what happens is people drive around it, which can then put them into the oncoming traffic. So we really feel this needs to be worked on. Unlike some of the other plaza owners, so there's the really large one on the right. Unlike some of the other plaza owners, they have been responsive. So I'm of the opinion, maybe give them 2 weeks to get it done, and then if they don't, we go in and make the repairs, because I don't want this to linger, because again, that will mess up somebody's car. And if they're at any rate of speed, it could hurt an individual inside the car.
I'm fine with giving them 2 weeks.
Yeah. Other thoughts?
So we're gonna give them 2 weeks to either take care of it or get an appointment to get it taken care of, right?
No, I want it taken care of by 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, I hope they can get it in 2 weeks.
Again, they should be able to, because the plants are now open. There's actually
Okay.
2 asphalt plants open. There are, those firms are starting to work.
Okay.
The temperature should be, I will just say, if they, have it scheduled, couldn't schedule it before the, what is it, 22nd, and they're scheduled for like the 25th, our
Yeah,
guys
wait,
can
that
use,
makes sense. Yeah.
our guys can use some, but the thing you don't want it is just to keep lingering.
Pushing
So
out, yeah.
I take them at their word, and again, they've been very responsive that they're gonna take it fixed. I guess I'll ask, is there any representative from the ownership group here? Or online? Okay. I will also note there was some concern when people saw that this firm purchased that plaza, because they have the same address as the owners of Southtown Plaza. In addressing the letter, I noticed a slight change. One ownership group they're at the exact same location in Great Neck, New York. One ownership group is in Suite 304, the other one is in Suite 404, so they are not the same ownership group. And that's good, because if you've been to Southtown, you know that the ownership group there does not appear to be putting any investment into the plaza. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with regards to the notice to perform work? Then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the notice to perform work for Doyle Security Access Road at 792 Calkins Road. And that concludes our public hearings. Can I get my next resolution?
Yeah, let me find it.
Burr.
Need it?
Thanks, Steve. Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-146, 2026 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members and Mr. Supervisor, I have resolution 8-147, 2026 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for March 24th, 2026 through today, April 8th, 2026.
Second.
So I'll note that this total includes $140,000 towards employee benefits, $69,000 towards the Campus Drive sewer repair, $37,000 towards the dog shelter construction, and $19,000 towards the band shell construction. Any other questions or comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-148, 2026. Perform work to repair the dangerous potholes in the access road at 792 Calkins Road, running through Doyle Securities parcel to Town Center Plaza, and charge the cost to the plaza owner, including as a lien against the property.
Second. So as mentioned, based on their responsiveness, we've, and the fact that the plants just opened this week, we've given them an additional 2 weeks. So that brings it to Wednesday, April 22nd. I gave them till 3 o'clock, and the reason for that is that gives us time to go look at it, and then our DPW crews, which they start early and leave early, so that gives them time to know whether they're going to have it on their schedule and can start scheduling if it's not done. So, any other questions, comments? I will note that if they don't pay the bill, it gets levied against their property taxes, so the town will be reimbursed one way or the other. Any other questions, comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 8-149, 2026 to declare intent to be lead agency for a coordinated seeker review of the mixed-use development of the former Marketplace Mall, bringing in the Mary Carriola Children's Center, Inc., and University of Rochester's Medical Clinic expansion and IDD Institute, and call for a public hearing.
Second.
So for those who haven't seen the news, there is a project to replace the mall, which closed at the end of last year, with these 3 uses: the Mary Carriola Children's Center, the URMC's expansion, and the IDD Institute. There was essentially $75 million worth of donations from Tom Golisano, $50 million to create the new IDD Center, which the IDD stands for Intellectual and Developmental Disability, and then $25 million for the Mary Carriola Children's Center. So this resolution, there's actually going to be a special use permit to redevelop or reset the mixed use development. So when the medical center first came in and we added the affordable senior housing, that was done through a mixed use overlay district. they're going to be changing the percentages. And so by code, they have to come back to, for a special use permit to update that plan. So, they will also then have to come in for, a special use permit for the URMC Medical Center and a special use permit for the Mary Cariola Center. The Mary Cariola Center will also need incentive zoning application. It's a large project, but two or actually three very worthwhile projects, and I'm very glad to have them in our town. A lot of people have expressed concern over the impact on our tax base. I will say we've actually already eaten the vast majority of that tax base. So back in 2016 or so, the mall was worth over $100 million-ish in this assessed value. Today, this last year, it was, I think, at 26 or 28 million. So we've actually already absorbed all that loss in value as the mall has declined. I will note that a number of properties are remaining commercial. So JCPenney's, interesting side note, it's one of the few JCPenney's that actually in the area that actually makes money. Of course, our fear is that the parent company will someday go bankrupt and the Pennies will close down. Floor and Decor, Sportsman Warehouse, Dave and Buster's, IndyCart, Land's End, M&T Bank, they're all staying commercial. When you add up those properties, they equal somewhere between about 18 and 20 million, maybe even 22 million. And I say maybe even because at the last assessment, the Floor and Decor wasn't quite completed, so it's not at its full value. I don't know what the full value will be. That's up to the assessor. But I'll say I'm sure it's going to be higher than I think it was roughly 1.5 where it's at now. Similar other properties are more in the like $4 to $6 million range. While we're losing that, we'll call it $6 to $10 million in valuation, we have also at that same time, we've added the new Bob Johnson GMC building on West Henrietta Road. We just added Skyworks. We're adding what's called Raising Cane's Chicken. We're adding a number of homes, apartments. So we should be adding more value than we're losing in the mall. And so obviously if the mall stayed commercial, those additions would all be growth. Now they're more replacement, but the point is people should not see a hit. They shouldn't see a larger portion of the tax piece because the mall's going away, thanks to the new development coming in. So with that said, is there anybody who wishes to make comment? Obviously, we're just calling for the public hearing at this point. So from a process standpoint, it's at minimum 30 days for the consent. So we will actually have a public hearing in 21 days to get initial input, but no decision would be made at that meeting. We wouldn't make decision for 2 meetings hence. So that gives us chance for these larger projects. We'd like to do that. We do that for rezoning as well, because we want to incorporate people's feedback into the we always incorporate their feedback into the decisions, but a lot of times for these larger projects, we have to incorporate them into conditions on the property. And so we typically like to hear those in advance. I don't know if that'll be the case in this particular one, but again, for any major project, we like to have at least 2 hearings so that we can have time to digest from the one and then respond at the next. So
Yeah,
I'll
I'll agree
open it
with
up
you,
to
Steve.
comments.
Yeah, I think it's a very worthwhile projects. I'm very happy to see that though we are losing some tax base in the marketplace, that it won't be vacant like some other malls have been. Thinking of Medley Center, how that went through a big ordeal for a number of years being vacant and finally went to change their usage out and around Detroit. So I'm very happy to see that if these are approved, we will have the properties being utilized and not vacant.
I just want to echo that sentiment. It's challenging, I think, for a lot of the community that's been in Henrietta for a long time to see the mall changing in the way that it is. But it's not going to sit vacant, causing a real stain upon the community. It's going to be heavily utilized and bringing people into our community in a very positive sort of way. So I am happy to at least see the redevelopment of this particular area.
Yeah, I'm probably echo everybody else. I think this is a great opportunity to make sure that the mall is not left vacant, and I think this is a great opportunity for these good organizations coming together to do some really good work in our community.
And I'll just give a little bit more detail from what we know so far. I'll just also add that, for anyone who's ever been to the orthopedic center, it's great having it there. I had a injury to my knee, and it was great to be able to go there essentially as an outpatient. You walk in, I didn't need an appointment. I went in as a walk-in, was able to get something scheduled, get taken care of. So, it's a great facility there. What they're going to be adding, they haven't made the final decision. Some of the initial discussions for the additional medical center, they've been talking about center that specializes with regards to respiratory illnesses. So we've seen a rise in asthma and COPD and other respiratory illnesses, and it would be a portion for adults and a portion for pediatric. Don't know if that's going to be their final decisions, but that's one of the things they've been discussing. So that would be in the southernmost part of the mall. In the center portion of the mall would be the Intellectual Development Disabilities Institute. And so, having that co-located with the Mary Cariola Center, whose students have intellectual and developmental disabilities, is phenomenal. In fact, I believe there's even going to be an interconnection between the two, so that if there's ever an issue with one of the students, they can go there. It's going to be, like I said, a great solution. So that's going to be in the center portion of the mall. And then the northern and easternmost portion of the mall will be Mary Cariola. And that's going to be done in 2 phases for the mall portion. The first phase that's going in now is a middle school. And then their plan is for phase 2 will be to put in an elementary school. They will have a right of first refusal on the JCPenney's building if that ever if JCPenney's ever closes and sells, then they will look to make that the high school. So those are the current plans. And again, we'll be seeing more detail as it comes forward. This is just the first step. And then, they would have to go through planning board, get site plan approval. I will note that the majority of the ring road is also going to become URMC property. And so the university will be responsible, I believe. I'm not sure if they're doing it as a lease, but they'll certainly have, if they're not responsible, they'll certainly have a strong say in the maintenance and upkeep of that road. So the plans are available online if you want to see them. And again, right now, they're just more the conceptual plans because, again, this is primarily for the change in use. I will note that one of the uses is a civic use area. A school is considered a civic use, so they meet all the requirements. In this particular one, when the way we set it up, we have minimum and maximum percentages. The town board does have the authority to override those minimum and maximum percentages, because for some of them, when we first envisioned these mixed use overlays, we were picturing in some of them, a greater percentage of residential. This particular one, whereas it does have a decent sized residential component, when you compare that to the rest of the mall, it's much smaller. So right up on the screen are some of the images of what's to come. The Mary Cariola bus drop off. The primary bus drop off will be in the northeast, and then at some point there'll be one on the northwest, probably in phase 2. So I'm very excited about this project, and can't wait to see it go. One other thing I should mention, Dick's, the former Dick's Sporting Goods. The plan is that will stay resident, or excuse me, stay commercial, and that they will be trying to find a new tenant for that location. In the meantime, we've had the Fairy Godmothers operating out there. If you're not familiar with them, they gather donations of prom dresses and do fittings and selling to those for very inexpensive for young women who might otherwise not be able to afford their prom dress. So it's a great organization. I was there for opening day and helping out because it's all volunteers. And I wasn't doing any of the fitting or dress selecting because that is so not me. I was manning the front table. But when you see the faces of these young women so excited about finding a dress, it's so worthwhile. They do a great job. And again, it's all volunteers. So we were so happy to have them in our town. Sad that they were bumped out of the mall when it closed, but we were able to work to get with Wilmerite to get them into Dick's Sporting Goods. And they've got 1 or 2 other events left, and then they're done for the season, and we're gonna have to find them a new home for next year. So, but it's a great group. So, anything else? All right, then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 8-150, 2026, to call for a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to add an amenity to the neighborhood upgrade incentive zone for the construction of affordable homes.
Second.
So we actually have this incentive zoning in our overlay districts, but we don't have it for neighborhoods. And basically the idea is greater density if you're willing to build smaller homes. So there's a push from Albany for towns to increase their zoning density, with the theory being, well, if you push houses closer together, it's less expensive to build, and they'll pass that savings on to the home buyers. No, they won't. Builders will always sell the house for whatever current market value is. So what you'd be doing is essentially saving them money and making greater profit for them. What we've done instead is said, we recognize that usually the builder wants to build a 2,000 square foot home, because when you look at, when I build a street in a new subdivision, the cost of that street gets divided amongst the number of homes. Obviously, if I'm dividing amongst 20 homes, that per lot cost is half the price if I'm dividing it up amongst 10 homes. And so, in addition, the laterals out to the homes are the same, regardless of the size of the home. So that leads developers to build larger homes because they make more money on them. Even though the cost of construction's a bit more, the revenue that they get from it exceeds that. And then again, when I'm now absorbing that cost of the utilities and street and sidewalks and lighting and everything else, storm, sanitary, it makes that's why you typically see these larger homes being built. Some of it's absolutely demand. There's a lot of people who want the bigger homes, but there are still a lot of people who want the smaller homes. And we can see that because guess which home prices are going up the fastest? The smallest homes. And the reason is because they don't build them much anymore. And so people are overpaying. They want to downsize into a smaller home, and so they're forced to overpay. They want to start a home, they're forced to overpay because those smaller homes are still cheaper than the 2,000 plus square foot homes. So what we've done, again, through incentive zoning in our overlay districts, is we've basically said that you can, we'll give you more density if you build a smaller home. And we've basically said it's like in the 12,000 square foot or smaller. We'll have some flexibility if we want to approve it, like if someone comes in with a 1,300 square foot home. But the idea is to get it a smaller home. And then we also typically want to have at least one first floor bedroom. And the reason for that is if I'm a senior looking to downsize, I typically don't want second floor bedrooms. I want first floor bedrooms. So,
It's helpful too if you have a mixed generation family.
yep. So I jokingly put it, it's not just a starter home, it's an ender home. So we do have one developer who has taken us up on that. They're in one of the overlay districts. And so, you know, we're going to have a bunch of these new homes that are smaller and more affordable. They have in their portfolio now, they have, you know, like 1,200, 1,400 square foot homes. They have, you know, like 1,600 square foot homes, and they have 2,000 square foot homes. So they have a range to meet the different demands of the market. So hopefully it will mean there'll be more homes available. For those who aren't aware, since 2017, the number of homes up for sale each month in Monroe County has dropped. Before 2017, it was on average about 2,400 homes per month were up for sale. Since about it's been declining and then kind of flattened out in, I think it was 2022. And since then, it's about 400 homes per month. Well, the demand for homes is just as high. Well, when the supply goes to 1/6 of what it used to be, that's why you're seeing prices rise. Since 2018, the median home price in Henrietta has doubled. So that's an insane increase in just a short amount of time. We are starting to see it slow down. They're still rising, but not to the rate that they have been. So, and I do think, you know, home availability plays a part in that, although I will also be a realist. Higher mortgage prices play a part in why it's slowing down too. It's not the best time to buy a new home. So that's what we're looking to do. Any questions, comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have Resolution 8-151, 2026, to call for a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to clarify special use permit requirements and buildable acreage allowances for parcels in the Brooks Road rural residential lands.
Second.
So as I mentioned earlier, we rezoned Brooks Road to be rural residential. Included in there was one parcel had some additional allowed uses. If you listen or to the hearing or read the minutes, it was always discussed that it was going to be through special use permit. And in fact, if you look at those uses in the other areas where they're allowed, they are by special use permit. But we didn't mention that in identifying them as additional uses for that parcel. So we wanted to make sure because it's solar arrays and large scale energy storage. So large scale solar and large scale energy. We had an applicant who came in and said, well, I don't need a special use permit. I read the code and I was like, oh my God, you're right. Well, it could be interpreted that way. So I shared with them the minutes, I explained them, and they agreed to apply for a special use permit, but we want to fix the code. The other thing we talked about is that for the large scale solar we said you don't have the farm requirement. And under the farm requirement, you're allowed to do the large scale solar for a maximum of 25% of the acreage. what we wanted to make clear is that that 25% limitation was also removed, so they can go up to 75%. Why 75 and not 100? Because we have a 25% requirement for green space on industrial property. So for both the large scale solar and the large scale energy storage systems, they can go up to a 75% usage. So any other, I will note that the transition buffers, setbacks, all those other rules still apply. And to be honest, I'm not even sure they can get to 75% when you add in those, because the particular parcel has frontage on a county road, which I think is like 125-foot setback or something like that. So, but we just wanted to clarify the code. Any other questions on that?
Very good.
All right. And hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-152/2026 to make a seeker determination and issue negative declaration for the proposed sidewalk extension along Clay Road in a commercial B2 zoned district.
Second.
So this is the section of Clay Road south of Strassenburg, down to where it used to be a cul-de-sac, just north of I-390. But then Walmart came in and built that connector road. So the road sort of extends, although technically that's the Walmart parking lot, but everyone uses it as a road. There is a bus stop there, and you'll see people walking on the shoulder. We are in the process. We were able to get a grant from Senator Jeremy Cooney to build a crosswalk there, because we have some individuals who are legally blind living in the apartments nearby who want to be able to walk to Walmart. But also a lot of people from that plot or from those apartments, as well as from Walmart, go to that bus stop there. And so we want to provide a safe route, and we were able to get a community development block grant to do that. Go ahead.
The bus stop is right there on Clay Road.
It's that loop. It's
The
that
little,
cul-de-sac.
yep, okay.
Yeah. So so we're basically running the sidewalk. I think we're going from the intersection with Strassenburg down to that, like I said, it's sort of a cul-de-sac, although there's now a road that comes out of the cul-de-sac. And so and that will then also connect to the new crosswalk that we're doing with the other grant. So both of these are funded with grants. One of the things we've found challenging in more recent years is finding parts of town that are eligible for the community development block grants. You have to have 50% or more of the people below the area median income. And because our population is very evenly distributed, we found that a lot of the census tracts have like 47%. And so they don't qualify for the community development block grants, but fortunately this area does. And so we'll be applying the funds for next year at that location. Any other questions, comments?
Steve, is this the one where RTS was going to build a shelter?
No, this is on the other side. That shelter is still going. They had to redesign it because when they went out and staked it out, there are some utilities right where the edge of it was going to be.
Okay.
So originally it was going to be facing the road. We realized without a sidewalk, to be able to put a gap, with the way they plow in that area, you would pile snow up right in front of the bus stop. So then they tried to turn it 90 degrees, had it all laid out, it's coming across a sidewalk that leads to there, but then found out that there was underground utilities there. So we're doing the same thing. We're just flipping it to the other side of the sidewalk. So They are still doing that. That was part of a deal we made when RTS adjusts its bus routes to include the new T-Mobile call center. They ended a connection down to the what's it called, Market Square, where Chick-fil-A and Mission Barbecue and is it Planet Fitness?
Yep, yep.
Or
It's not Planet
no,
Fitness.
it's LA Fitness.
think it used to be.
Tell I don't go to the gyms.
Yeah.
Where those are located. And so we made a deal. They wanted us to build a sidewalk connecting that to the bus stop across from Walmart. And I said to RTS, okay, as long as you build a new shelter there, because if you've ever been by there, you'll see shopping carts tipped on their side as people are sitting around waiting. On the other side is a discharge bus stop. You don't need the shelter for the discharge because people get off the bus and immediately leave. But the pickup stations, we didn't need the shelter there. So
All right, I have what may be a silly question, but in the crosswalk across Clay Road that's connecting Clayton Arms Apartments to the sidewalk along Clay Road, is it possible to put a walkway in that leads into the Walmart parking lot?
that is part of the plans. It's took a long time to convince Walmart to
That was
get us an easement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not a question whether it's necessary. It was a question of getting them to grant us an easement.
Okay.
Fortunately, we had they were coming to us for an expanded use. And oh, by the way, that expanded use would have increased the traffic right in the area where the folks would be crossing. And I pointed out to them, I can't in good conscience, if I've got people coming here, put in additional traffic without having a proper crosswalk, because we would do the ramp down and then there would be a crosswalk striped where the Walmart thing is. So we were able to convince them to grant the easement so we could get that project going.
Yeah. And if they would, I know it's on Walmart to include some sort of a signage or something, but something that says like stop for pedestrians and crosswalk.
We will have that. We can put that signage up as part of this. And the one across Clay Road will actually be a raised crosswalk like we just put on Authors.
Perfect.
So I often refer to it as tabletop. So you ramp up and then there's a flat, which is the crosswalk itself, and then it ramps down.
Yeah.
So it's both crosswalk and speed bump.
And a little bit more accessible, I think, for
Agreed.
a number of different people. Great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-153, 2026. To authorize the supervisor to sign the attached agreement with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office Regional Investigative Operations Center for interconnection to the town's camera system.
Second. So I'll note that interconnection would only occur if I were to hit the emergency button here, or someone were to call 911. What it would allow that investigative operations center to do is, while the officers are on response en route to the call, they could pull up the imagery and inform the officers of what is currently going on, so that they're prepared when they come in through the door. It does not give them the ability to look at them at any time. They can't just, I don't know why they would want to, but they can't just sit and pay attention to what town employees or visitors to town hall are doing. It just gives them, like I said, it's in response to an emergency call.
So Supervisor, I guess I do have some questions with regards to this. So this is provided by a third party, and I see that it is hardware in order to enable the video sharing. First of all, is this hardware, where is this hardware installed at on our end?
It would be at our data center. So in our data center, we have the machine, the hardware that handles the cameras.
Okay, and that's for all of the all of town cameras? Or
We
is it
have,
for certain ones?
it's for certain ones. I'd have to talk with IT as to whether the one, so there's one system for town hall, and it covers some of our other facilities, but like we have a
Right.
separate system over in the
Court.
in the court. We have another system, in a separate system that we added recently in the senior center. However, that one is not
Interconnected.
it's not a how to put it, it's a less expensive system that doesn't have the same remote access capability. So
Okay,
that one would not be capable. And then I think we have one in our library and one in our rec center. So as to whether the one device will be able to access all four, I believe it will, but it would be located here in our data center here.
okay. Yeah, so I guess, it would seem like that the most helpful places would be, potentially town hall, the rec center, and the library, where there might be a little bit more action, if you will.
I would think the court.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't include the court here because there hasn't been a full answer as to what the allowance that comes under a different set of laws. And so we don't have a ruling from the New York, I forgot what they call it, the Judicial Office of Court Administration, as to whether they are allowed to have that access or not. So for now, we've just kept the court off of it.
Okay.
But if they do allow it and the court, we think it'll be beneficial to have it on there, then we would add it at a later date.
So this third party, will they be storing any of the data that is coming in?
No, and again, that third party, it's the equipment, the device, the access goes to Monroe County. It goes directly to that operations center. So, but none of that data is stored. Let me rephrase that. It's stored on our systems, not on theirs.
Okay, and I see that there are 5 circumstances under which the Monroe County Sheriff's Office can access the video feeds. So it's in support or coordination of a 911 call, which you've already described, for the purpose of training authorized users of this particular system, for demonstration purposes, to conduct surveillance and ongoing criminal investigations, and to conduct special attention of retail, public, and commercial areas. So I guess I am concerned a little bit with D and E. If it's just for the purposes of responding to a 911 call, so they have visual, eyes on the ground as to what is going on when we make a 911 call, that I can understand. But for D and E purposes, that seems very open-ended.
So for D and E, my understanding is it requires our permission. Actually, for all of them, essentially, there's an implicit permission when I call in a 911 or hit the panic button.
Okay.
But for all the other ones, it requires our permission.
So prior to accessing the video feed, they would need to request permission, and they're requesting permission from you or from directors of the facility? What would be the process?
That's probably up to us. Again, for an emergency situation, that's not required, but for any other one, typically it's it comes from my office. We can mandate that that's the case, but like I said, one of the things, so let's say there was let's say there was vandalism here at Town Hall. One of the things that would allow them to do as part of that investigation, let's say it occurred, in a location where there's cameras, and there's includes some of the outside cameras. We could give them access to the footage, so that they could include that in their investigative work.
All right. Yeah, so as long as it's D and E are provisional, with, request, preferably for B and C as well, but as a trainer, I do understand the necessity of,
Well,
demonstrating the
right,
use of the equipment.
right, but I also wouldn't want them to be able to just turn on the cameras with that. In other words, if it's a training exercise, we should be part of that, right? So,
Yes, yes. Yeah, as long as, permission is required from the town before accessing that information, then
let me,
it's acceptable.
what's the name of the file? I forgot that one is called.
Monroe.
What are you looking at?
I'm in the big packet.
Oh, okay. Oh, I found it. I found
ESO,
it. Yep.
yeah, MSO. Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure, because if it's not, then we'll amend it to clarify. But when we were talking to them, that was my understanding.
So are we gonna wait on this to clarify, or are we gonna just?
No, I say that, well, that's up to you guys, how you want to vote, but my vote is just that we'll add a thing that we can make it that satisfactory to the town attorney, that we clarify that for all uses other than A, it requires express permission from, and we can make it from the town, or we can make it from the town supervisor, however you want to do that.
It looks like, 0.7 indicates that we are allowed to request copies of any data logs that they've accessed
Yep.
For us, but I don't see the reverse where they are required to ask permission to access the information, but I could be missing something.
And like I said, some of this, we were at the location talking about this, so it's possible when we talked about that it didn't make it into that agreement, but that's what we talked about, is that, again, with A does not require the express permission, but the other uses would. So like I said, so let me go back to the resolution now. So basically let me see, what would be a good way to edit that resolution?
I have a question also about.
That essentially what I'd want to have in there is that there's a resolve clause that essentially before I'm authorized to sign it, that it has to be modified to make it clear that the uses other than the emergency uses require express permission from the town supervisor.
Thank you. Or his office.
So my question is this, I mean, we have cameras throughout the park, right?
No, we
Don't
have,
have any cameras at our,
we don't have, we have some cameras, but I won't say throughout the park.
okay.
That we have.
We do have
Okay.
other cameras at the park that they would be able to access. The reason why I'm asking
I
is,
do not believe they actually will. It depends. So again, they have to be connected to that particular system. And I don't remember whether the ones in the park can or cannot.
the reason why I'm asking is because there was a time that we had a crime happen in our park and someone was killed somewhere else. That person came here, killed themselves and threw their weapon. So I'm wondering if they would have access to that kind of information to help their investigation.
If, again, so if the park cameras are on one of these logging systems, they could do that. To be honest, today, if an investigator came to me and said, hey, can we come in here and look at your video feed to help with an investigation, we're of course going to cooperate. So
Yeah, that
it
makes
doesn't
sense.
change. It just, the difference is whether they can
The
do it
immediacy.
remotely through the investigative operations center.
Yeah, I
So
don't want to do something that keeps them from investigating something that's happening in our town that's a crime. That's what I'm getting to.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And like I said, that this wouldn't change that.
Okay.
Just like as with, and there's been a big push on this, right? So there's a lot of talk about use of doorbell cameras as an
Mhm.
example, because they
Mhm.
can become very helpful in solving crimes, but pretty much most communities agree they need to request that permission from the owner of
Homeowner.
the camera. They
Mhm.
can't just take the video footage.
Okay.
So the idea would be the same thing here. Again, for an emergency response, we want them to have that access. But if they're doing anything that's not in an emergency state,
Gotcha.
they'd ask permission, but we wouldn't want it to come back to a town board because then it's delayed
Yep.
for 3 weeks,
Mhm.
up to 3 weeks. So, again, it would be through through the approval, and what, we can do internally, we can write up a policy and adopt it so that, like, if we granted permission, we could add it to the resolution for agreements or whatever, or we can make it a separate resolution anytime we've granted permission, just so the town board and public are aware. So,
Okay.
but again, we can adopt that policy at any time. Dan, do you have a thought on language on how to modify this resolution to require that?
Unfortunately,
You
did
forgot.
not bring my laptop.
Yep.
Totally by accident, and
Let me see.
can't see it right.
Um,
I did that.
let me just read this real quick and see if I can come up with something fast. Okay, so I'm gonna find it's easiest to start typing an email. That way I can just send it to Becky. The new. I not see the thing to create a new.
Mhm.
There it is.
Yep.
Jeez, it's hidden.
Mhm.
Which one are we on?
153.
153. Say be a further resolve that the supervisor only authorize sign been amended, include express permission. Do you want or designee?
Or designate. In case you're not available, I
Sure.
wouldn't want to hold up an investigation.
From the town supervisor or designee for any access other than emergency. Do you still have the agreement there
Yes.
as described in, what is it? Is it 6? No, 8A?
Um. Yes, 8A, yep.
So I added be a further resolve that the town oh wait, I forgot. We have one more thing. Okay. Okay, so I added, be it further resolved that the town supervisor is only authorized to sign the agreement after it has been amended to include express permission from the town supervisor or designee for any access other than emergency access as described in paragraph 8A in a form acceptable to the attorney for the town.
Okay.
So that way, I can't sign it till that's ready to go.
Thank you.
Any other, so what I'm gonna do then, I'm gonna put forth a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to amend, resolution 8-153 to add the following clause. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is only authorized to sign the agreement after it has been amended to include express permission from the town supervisor or designee for any access other than emergency access as described in paragraph 8A in a form acceptable to the attorney for the town.
Second,
Oop, sorry. Go ahead.
you got it. Millie's got it.
One of the MS's got it. All right, I'm gonna send this to you, Becky, and I'll copy in Dan. Any further discussion on the amendment? And hearing and saying none, please call the roll to amend resolution 8-153.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right. So now we are discussing and voting on the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? All right, then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll for the resolution 8-153 2026 as recently amended.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. All right, fellow board members, I have resolution 8-154 2026 to issue a notice to perform work to the owner of 3070 West Henrietta Road, Popeyes Restaurant, Hope 13 LLC for the repair of their parking lot.
Second.
So if you've ever been over there, their parking lot is a mess. And cars can potentially be damaged. So we're giving them till Monday, April 27th, which is the day of the next workshop. Hopefully they'll have it taken care of by then. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 8-155 2026 to issue a notice to perform work to the owner of 3333 Henrietta Road, South Town Plaza for the repair of their parking lot.
Second.
I'll notice there's a typo in that title. It should be 3333 West Henrietta Road. Again, the parking lot's deteriorating. The good news is a portion of the parking lot is now owned by Duncan Bright Furniture, and they are working on getting that repaired. In fact, they were trying to get it done today or this week because their grand opening is on Friday is when they're first open to the public. There's a ceremonial ribbon cutting Thursday evening. So at least a portion of the parking lot should hopefully be in good condition. Unfortunately, the owners, Southtown Nassim LLC, they have not been responsive. They didn't do the repairs the last time. We had to come in and do some. The good news is I was able to reach out to that other ownership group whose office is downstairs from these guys.
Yeah.
And they were able to get me the phone number for them. So I will be
great.
giving them a call and hopefully they'll answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So
So Steve, last time we did the parking lot over there and we charged them, did they pay?
No, they did not.
So it's a lien against their property.
And it's going on their taxes. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Wow, that's really irresponsible.
Do we charge them extra when we have to put it on their taxes for having, can we charge them interest?
Yeah, right.
I don't think, not, I'm not sure.
They're-
I think that the code board offer, is that an administrative fee section on it?
I'd have to look at that as to whether, yeah, there might be an administrative fee. It's under property maintenance. It's one of the few things that we can actually do that with, and that's enabled through New York State law. It's with property maintenance. So we'll look into that as to whether we can include a fee. I don't know that we can include a interest payment.
Okay, fee, interest payment, whatever.
So,
The other thing is, as things currently are, it's my understanding that the county would be reimbursing us anyway. So it's not, it's not gonna drag out for years.
Right.
It's an annual thing. And then the county,
That's the-
their problem, so to speak, but they can, however they do their interest on over.
Late, yeah, then if they don't pay, it's a late tax payment, which does include interest.
Right.
I will say that, most of these owners, even if they're negligent owners, they try to stay up on taxes because there is one lien that, and the banks will make sure they pay taxes if they have a loan on it, because tax liens take priority over all other liens. So, and if they don't pay it for an amount of time, then they will send out a notice and they'll put it up for sale,
That's right.
which I'll be honest, that would be a good outcome.
so with this work, are we planning to go in and do the entire parking lot or just like the travel lanes and that type of thing?
In this one, we typically, so it's the travel lanes, and if there's any, again, tire eaters.
Yeah.
Where it's really dangerous especially when it's dangerous for the occupants.
Sure.
But also if it's potentially gonna, damage someone's tire, rim, or alignment.
So we're patching the potholes.
Yeah, so unlike the last time, I don't think we had the
We didn't have it.
the hot mix yet,
Yeah,
the
we
last
didn't
time we
have
did
patch
this, so this last time we did cold patch, which rarely lasts a year, so this time it would be hot patch. It'll be a little bit more expensive to do, but hopefully it'll last longer.
Right.
Yeah, although it's so bad over there.
I know.
Not as bad as Popeyes.
I know.
Popeyes is smaller though.
Yeah.
But this is the whole plaza over there in Southtown. That's a
Well,
big-
like I said, well, the good news is a large portion of it, everything
Yeah,
in front of,
Mhm.
right, in front of the former Burlington Coat Factory, that's now Duncan Bright. And I don't know what they have in terms of entrances and exits, so.
Mhm.
Any other questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-156, 2026, to authorize advertisements of bids for a permitting code and plan review software solution.
Second.
So the software we've been using for a long time, they've not been adding new features to it in the code portion. And so we've been looking for a replacement. We had tried a previous replacement. It did not do the vast majority of what they advertised it would do. So we immediately stopped payment. They were unable to rectify the situation, and so we're going in a different direction. But because of the nature of the purchase, by rule, we have to go out to bid. So, any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-157, 2026 to adopt the Riverton Oaks Municipal Golf Course Golf Cart Use Rules and Private Golf Cart Use Program Agreement.
Second.
So with the new homes being built right along the golf carts, we've had a number of requests from golf cart owners as to whether they can use their private golf carts. We do not allow, the prior operator of the golf course used to allow people to store their private golf carts there and operate them. We do not allow that. We do not want the town taking responsibility for private equipment. So but we are doing where we have decided to implement the use of private carts, but we wanted to put together an agreement so that they understand it covered, they have to cover basically they have to have coverage from their insurance, and the town has to be named as a co-insured. As came up during the workshop discussion, when we have that, if we're named as a co-insured and they go to decline the policy, we would be notified that as named as co-insured, we would be notified, and so we would then basically say, oh, you can't use that golf cart here. And so we wanted to put together and adopt the rules for private golf cart use, but also just golf cart use in general. So we're going to have that on the sign when anybody does the, like you see a lot of things today when you do the go to sign up for a golf cart, it'll give you the terms and agreement, and I think it'll even be spit out on the back of the receipt. So and then there'll be signs posted for responsible golf cart use. So any questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
There is-
Like, hang on, yeah, I just,
Okay,
I went by it, so sorry about that.
I'm like, wait a minute, is it me?
Yep. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-158, 2026 to authorize the purchase of one new 2026 Ford F-150 for the sewer department.
Second. So this is in the budget. One of the things, a lot of times folks from the sewer department have to go out and check, there's an alert. It doesn't make sense to always take like a 1-ton larger truck. So it makes sense to have a smaller vehicle in fleet. It'll be more fuel efficient and basically allowing them to quickly, get to the area or get to the pump station, check to see what's going on, and then determine what has to happen next. So it's only as a 6-foot bed, but again, they're probably not taking a whole lot with them because this is primarily for when they're checking on the status of what's going on. So any questions or comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right. Fellow board members, I have resolution 8-159, 2026 to declare an item surplus material from the highway department.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 8-160, 2026, to appoint Alex Borneman as the Climate Smart Community Coordinator for the town and as a member of the Sustainability Committee.
Second.
I'd just like to thank Alex for stepping forward. When Pat has stepped down, we've had this opening, and Alex has stepped forward to help lead the efforts, including some of those still going on from what Pat started, as well as some new ones that the Sustainability Committee will come up with in the future. So very appreciate people. Again, appreciate Pat for all she's done to get the Sustainability Committee started. So
Got large shoes to fill. Thank you, Pat, for your service.
Thanks, Pat.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I look forward as the liaison for Sustainability Committee to be working with Alex and the rest of the committee. They have some really exciting things that they want to propose and continue to make Henrietta more sustainable. So I'm looking forward to it, and thank you, Pat, for everything you're doing.
Any further comments or input? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 8-161, 2026, to authorize disposition of the town records per the LGS-1 schedule.
Second.
So different types of records have different retention requirements. Some records actually require you to keep them indefinitely, others only a certain amount of time. So that's all detailed on the New York State, the local government records. That's what the LGS stands for. Schedule. So our town clerk goes through and figures out which stuff needs to stay and which stuff needs to or can be disposed of. So, and they are, if it's any kind of personal record, it might be everything just to play it safe. It does go through shredding, secure document destruction. And Dread Tax does come on site and actually does it here. So, any other questions or comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow board members, I have resolution 8-162, 2026 to authorize payment for VMware vSphere software and licensing.
Second.
If anyone has any questions, Becky can answer them after.
Either that or Councilmember Stafford.
Yes, I was gonna say, I'm, thank you so much for the great explanation on Monday about this, just understand it fully now.
As you can imagine, it's was rather a deep IT discussion. So,
For some of us.
yes.
Yes.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-163, 2026 to approve the audited 2025 financial statements and other annual reports.
I will second. I'll note that once again, we received glowing reviews. Big credit to our Finance Director, Linda Salpini, and her team, as well as the department heads and everybody who prepares all the stuff for the financial, not just budgeting, expenditures, tracking everything, and then providing all the information for the auditors. One of the things I've always said, if you don't have a good financial base, you got nothing to build on. So this town, certainly for the past 8 years, has had a very strong financial base. So any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, have resolution 8-164, 2026 to return interest earned in 2025 from the capital project fund to the general fund.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 8-165, 2026 to adopt the updated purchasing policies for the town.
Second.
So the update in our purchase policy that had to do with the process for professional services. In one section of code, it basically, I don't remember which one says it in the affirmative and which one says it in the negative, but the section of code and the purchasing policy had it differently, and it created some confusion. So we decided to keep it in the same. I don't remember whether we kept it in the affirmative or the negative, but we have the same wording in both places so that there's no confusion. So any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 8-166, 2026 to approve the insurance proposals as negotiated by one group on behalf of the town.
Second.
Any questions or comments? So just note that this percent increase is a little bit less than what we had in the budget, but the budget number also included not just the rate increase, but that the fact that we're going to be adding some new facilities. So we'll be adding the new dog shelter, the new band shell, the expanded senior center. So all that will cause our insurance payment to grow when those come online. So any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-167, 2026 to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 8-168, 2026 to adopt local law number 4 of 2026 to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to expand permissible uses on large parcels in the R1 zoning districts by obtaining a special use permit.
Second. Any further discussion since the public hearing?
No.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have Resolution 8-169, 2026, to adopt local law number 5 of 2026 to amend the provisions of the tax exemption for volunteer firefighter and ambulance personnel.
Second.
Again, any further comments or questions since the public hearing closed? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. That concludes our resolution. Do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
I have a few things. For the Parks and Rec Board, registration is now open for summer playground, summer creative drama, and the STAR program, which is the summer camp for students entering grades 8 through 10. Those were opened early on March 23rd because there's a lot of inquiries from parents planning for summer. That includes me, so mine is already signed up. The summer brochure is also going to be available online next week, and registration for all summer programs opens April 20th for residents and April 27th for non-residents. For the library, this was exciting news, I thought. You can now rent magazines through the Libby app. So I don't know if any of the board members here are fans of the Libby app. We're big fans of the Libby app in our household. You can borrow books, ebooks from the library, audiobooks from the library, and now you can borrow all kinds of magazines. It's great. I was taking a look through. They have all kinds of things in there, like the standard types of magazines that you would typically find, but also things like on manga and anime, all full color and that type of thing. So definitely check it out. Youth Board, of course, is the 50th anniversary of the Youth Hall of Fame. And they are also planning the Juneteenth event, and it's going to be starting at 6 p.m. with an art show facilitated by the school district for the K through 6th grades and a poetry contest for 7th through 12th grade with the winning poem at the event. This weekend as well, there's a bike, we are an inaugural ride for the new bike boulevard for the town. We are going to take a ride on the Wedgewood Park Bike Boulevard. We're all going to gather here at Town Hall outside on April 11th at 1 o'clock and take a ride.
Okay, I will have to say my first reaction was, why can't guys ride too? And then I realized you said inaugural, not inaugural.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But I'm okay with an all-girl ride too.
For me, sustainability, the Conservation Board met last night. We heard from one group about, I don't have the name in front of me, but what is exciting to hear is that a lot of the developers and the people are really considering sustainability as a priority. They're following that kind of our lead on that. So I think this group actually have more plants and stuff that they're going to put in. The Conservation Board gave them some suggestions. And then the next thing I'm excited about is that the Sustainability Committee is going to be up and running, and we appointed Alex. So there's a lot of opportunity there that I'm looking forward to continue to help facilitate that work that they're doing to continue making our community more sustainable and climate friendly. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's great. Well, I apologize to the board for missing last month's meeting. I just didn't get here. The planes wouldn't get me here. Weather had me stay in Florida for 2 more days. It wasn't a bad place to be, but I don't like missing our board meetings. But one thing that happened the week before was our girls bowling team. They won the championship for Section 5. One of our employees here, Craig Barber, his daughter, Haley, she participates in the bowling team, and they went to states and they placed 4th, which is huge. And Haley was able, they nominated her and gave her a sportsmanship award for Section 5, also that weekend. So congratulations to our RH bowling team, the girls team. They're very strong, and to Haley for all that she did for the team.
That's great.
Uh, Attended the zoning board meeting last Wednesday, and it was typical things at the zoning board, but after the meeting, there was a young man there, he was a Boy Scout, asking the zoning board members their thoughts on the lack of available housing in Henrietta. And here, we got into it pretty much earlier tonight. Many of the board members' views were right on with the reasons why we have a lack of housing. So that was kind of interesting. I think it was one of his projects for Scouts. So
That's great.
so it was great that, getting young people realizing there's an issue too.
Right.
So that's really all.
All right. We're looking to open the golf course early this year because we got a stretch of nice weather coming. So probably Monday the 13th. If the rain continues the way it's been going, it will be walk only because it will be too soupy for golf carts. But if it's a gorgeous day and you want to get out and hit some, like I said, potentially as soon as Monday the 13th. We've got the town newsletter will be coming out. Plan is to have it at homes before the end of the month. The earlier one was delayed between the state of the town and a bunch of grants. I just ran out of time to do it. So we'll be putting one out soon. And that's about it. Do we have any additional discussion items or comments from the public?
Good evening, Kevin Yost, 1474 Middle Road. I don't know the legality of it, of being able to do it. Something I thought about for years, but an ordinance or local law that when a business closes, the sign, the lights have to be turned off immediately, and then the sign would have to be taken down probably 90 or 120 days. I mean, the signs lit is both false advertising and a waste of electricity, waste of the earth's resources, and then a sign up too long after a business closes. It's kind of false advertising. Jimmy John's sign was lit the whole entire time that closed, and it miraculously reopened, and then Pontello's sign was still lit after that closed in that location. And then for many years, the Gateway Computer was still on the sign for J. Scuddy Plaza, the corner of J. Scuddy Boulevard and Jefferson Road. Long after that, whole company went out of business worldwide, and Merlin Amusements had moved into that location. Computer City, there in the 2000s, their sign was up for years after that closed, where Planet Fitness is now, and then likewise with their competitor across Jefferson Road, Comp USA, and what's now Tile Shop Plaza, the Tile Shop location. So I would say the signs, the lights have to be turned off immediately when a business closes in that location, and then the signs would have to be taken down either 90 days or 120 days afterwards, and there'd be fines increasing, progressing in intervals of 30 days. Like I said, I don't know if it's what the legality of it is. You have to consult with the town attorney and if the court would strike it down or whatnot.
We'll take a look at it. We are in the process of updating our sign code, so we can take a look at it as to whether it makes sense to add that there.
Okay, and my second idea is something totally different to dovetails what I said at last meeting. I'm wondering the peninsula at the Riverbend Peninsula at Riverton Golf Course Field, Riverbend Park, which is now gone back to nature. I wonder about making a trail through there and having either 9-hole or 18-hole disc golf course through there from a trail leading from what was a cul-de-sac at the very southern tip of there where there had been a drinking fountain and long since dumped in there'd be minimal mowing and hopefully little or no fertilizers or pesticide chemicals.
So the former Riverbend Park does have an 18-hole disc golf course. It's partly through trees, partly through the open fields there. So that was built and is operational.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet.
Hi, I'm Mark Perez, and I'm part of the Color Henrietta Green with here in Henrietta, and I'm asking the board to send a message to our representatives in Albany in support of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, CLCPA. Since its passage, New York has established a clear roadmap to reach zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050. And the CLCPA is the touchstone for this roadmap. However, today, as many of you really know, there are two significant challenges. One is affordability, be it housing, healthcare, or energy costs. And the second is that the world is changing dramatically, be it the 70 years of international stability and norms that we've lived in being upended, or our air, wind, and water, as well as our health being degraded by the extraction, transport, and use of fossil fuel. Just kind of an aside, the vehicle that you just approved, I'm not sure if it's going to be mandated as an EV or not. But in terms of total usage, repair, maintenance, an EV would come out ahead over the long term, but the upfront cost will be greater. We cannot ignore that these twin challenges, affordability and the world changing, can be seen both within our borders and worldwide, and that we're interconnected. We only need to look at the price of gas at our local pumps to see this, or the multiple 100-year events of 2025 that include watching fellow Americans endure fires in California, flooding in Texas, or increased number of Category 5 storms hitting the U.S. All of these costing billions of dollars in disaster relief. Then there's the forward cost that you are presently thinking about, which is hardening our schools, our churches, our roads, our bridges, and other structures against the climate changes before us. All of these will need to be built into the tax base of every homeowner as you look forward. I understand the immediate reaction to an RG&E bill is much more impactful, including my own response when I see it, than watching the news and hearing that billions of dollars are being requested for a disaster. But each of those disaster dollars are coming somewhat out of our own pockets. I am not blind to the potential immediate difficulties presented by the CLCPA. For RG&E, the twin mandates of keeping up the present fossil fuel system and bringing on a new generation of renewable energy sources and transportation of this energy presents an expensive and difficult dilemma. It is like asking someone to change your car engine while it's running. But we cannot be blind to what scientists and our own eyes can see. Our planet's climate is changing, and is changing rapidly and dramatically. I also realize that moving away from our current fossil fuel system feels at times like too big of an ask, too expensive, too great a burden. But we cannot ignore the realities of our present degrading infrastructure, the obvious volatility of fossil fuel costs as seen today at the pump, or our climate's response to the increasing carbon in our atmosphere. I'm therefore asking this board to not only support the CLCPA in spirit, but to actively communicate with our Albany representatives your support, to advocate that in this transition from fossil fuel consumption to renewable energy, with a use an equitable rate structure to be created during this transition that protects all the ratepayers from unusual price spikes, and in particular protects our low-income seniors and families. By supporting this framework now, we choose a path where our town and its taxpayers can ultimately succeed rather than just picking up the bill for the next disaster. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment because I'm actually not in support of the CLCPA as it is currently written. And part of the issue has to do with with the electrification. I believe the cart's way out in front of the horse. And I'm going to use Henrietta as a perfect example. But before I do that, I'm going to say I certainly agree with the goals and spirit of the legislation. This administration has been at the forefront of changes and efforts to reduce our carbon footprint. Whether it's the large scale solar array adoptions, the converting all of our street lights to LEDs, the energy efficiency improvements in our facilities, installation of car chargers, things like that. But, some of what we're seeing right now is, so for instance, even if they wanted to, there is no way our school district could go to electric buses for at least 3 years because there is no power available for them to put in the car chargers. It's the same thing with our fleet here. We couldn't possibly do it, even if we wanted to, because there just is no additional capacity, or I should say no sizable additional capacity at our substation. The problem is, Henrietta is not alone. You have all these cryptocurrency and AI data centers going in, and they go in with their own substation. So they're buying up all of the available transformers, and it's a 5-year wait for us to get a new transformer. So West Henrietta has been out of available power for quite some time. That's why there's been no real major development going in with regards to industrial sites. We have a bunch of industrial sites sitting empty, waiting for tenants that they aren't going to be able to come in until that power is available. The other thing that's happened in New York State and that they need to address is, with the shift to electric combined with the shutdown of our nuclear plants, it means more and more of the on-demand power generation stations, which are fossil fueled, because those are the type of stations that can sit idle and come on instantly and up to speed. We're up to 40% of our electricity from fossil fuels right now. So we're kind of, you're substituting, as you push more to electric, you're essentially substituting some of the gas for things like, gas heaters, hot water heaters, furnaces, to gas powered electrical generation. So along the way, you're increasing the cost of new homes. Let's face it, at a time when our federal government is doing a fine job of raising our costs all on their own. So, I'd love to see some of the stuff, but I would love to see some of the things moderated, to take a look at. Because like one of the things I brought up when the governor was here, is if you now require all electric homes, what happens when the power is out, right? We see power outages a lot. And as these storms continue to grow, that's going to be a more common occurrence. There are some people who can't be without power. They might have a CPAC, they might have other life supporting things. They might have, stuff in the fridge that they can ill afford to replace if it goes out, right? Well, you're not going to be able to get the natural gas generators in new subdivisions if the only device that's going in is the generator, because no utility company can afford to put those in if the only consumption of gas is an occasional use generator and maybe a brief use. So, I think they need to look at some of the stuff and temper it based off of realistic uses. And I'm going to go back to the school buses. Even with the school buses today, electric school buses make a lot of sense downstate, where I have short runs and spend a lot of time idling. That is a perfect use for a school bus. In the Rush Henrietta Central School District, 60% of our bus routes are longer than the travel distance of a charge on the bus. So we'd have to buy more buses, which is more expensive. We'd have to hire more bus drivers, which is more expensive. Guess who bears the load of all that additional cost? It would be all of our taxpayers. So, I get it that, like I said, it's a good idea and where it makes sense, but I think they need to take that kind of stuff into account.
So are you suggesting that the CLCPA be modified in a way that is pragmatic?
Absolutely.
Okay. But that the roadmap to a zero emission, which may include that there are gas plants and nuclear plants still online, is a goal.
I would agree, like I said, I personally wish they'd actually bring some of the, or at least new nuclear plants back online. I look at,
It's a 10-year development option for nuclear.
I understand, and that's part of the problem is that there's all these hurdles in front of stuff. I think it was a mistake to shut some of those down.
Yeah.
The thing we've got is, so you're talking to an imaging scientist who understands insolation, which for those who don't know, that's the amount of energy that hits the surface of the earth from the sun. It is significantly different in Rochester than, let's say, Phoenix. Both do a latitude, so it's half as intense just because of the change in latitude. And then, oh, by the way, there's the cloud cover. So, our solar panels can only do so much. And when you look at, if I want to get off of that gas power generation, which I do think you do, then you need to have some alternative, because I just don't think you can make it all up from green energy. You can gain a little bit more efficiency in the solar panels, but you're pretty close to the maximum efficiency unless there is some kind of quantum change in technology.
So what you're pointing out is, one is that the peak power times, which are going to be shipped in an electrical world, will be shifting in Rochester to winter,
right,
where we have the least amount of sun. And so in this point, clearly the CLCPA is saying that we need batteries backup, that we need a source of reliable, ongoing energy for peak times. So I think the point I'd like Henrietta to kind of consider is that we need to pragmatically approach this without losing sight of the goal.
I'd be willing to back that.
Yeah.
So what I can do is I can work, look to put together something with my fellow board members. We can look to see if we can put together a letter that we could all agree. There's no way we can do it tonight.
No, I understand.
Right, but we'll take a look at that. So I agree, like I said, if we can make some of that, I think lawmakers on both sides of this issue, and I don't even want to necessarily say aisle because it's not always aligned to political party, but I think the folks who are no gas, no gas, no gas of any kind need to back off, but then also the people of, I'm going to drive my gas guzzlers no matter what, they need to back off. And I don't necessarily want to say we need to meet in the middle, but both sides have to come in a bit to get to a more pragmatic approach to the stuff. There is some promising stuff. I don't know if you've seen the news about the Toyota solid state batteries that they've been testing. Looking at probably a 750-mile range in a 10-minute charge time.
I vote for that.
That will significantly change the formula with regards to electric cars. And oh, by the way, because they don't contain lithium, they're not as prone to the risk of fire. So they're much safer. As you start to see some of these technologies come on board, you're going to change stuff dramatically. I will note one of the things you'll be potentially excited about, that correction we just did for Brooks rezoning. One of the reasons, as I mentioned, we have an application coming in. They've agreed to do it as a special use project, but that is going to be for a large scale energy storage system. So a battery system, so that when we get this power generated from, at night, you've got the, Robert Moses power plant putting out energy, whether it's being used or not. Now you can store it so that it can be used during the daytime, supplement in the daytime. So you bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
All right.
Hi, Noreen Reardon. I'm also here in support of the CLCPA. The portions of it that interest me the most are how the state will increase carbon capture through the growth of trees and other plants, and specifically the sustainable forestry management strategies that are in the CLCPA. New York forests provide improved water quality, recreation, and wildlife habitat. The state will develop guidance to promote better forest management, and incidentally, 75% of forest land is privately owned, and those owners would benefit from learning sustainability strategies for their forests. Also, the portion regarding improvement of soil health, especially adding trees to areas of agricultural production, which improves water and air quality, storm and flood mitigation, provides habitat, scenic vistas, and agritourism possibilities, creating possible jobs. And also very important is the part regarding disadvantaged communities. A minimum of 35% of the benefits of spending on clean energy and energy efficiency programs in housing, job creation, pollution reduction, and low-income energy assistance would go to disadvantaged communities. And I'm going to leave because I've been coughing like crazy all night, so I got it out. Thank you.
Yep. Hopefully that will include some funding to help municipalities purchase new trees to expand, especially with the loss of the ash trees and some of the other trees that we could certainly use assistance from replanting some of our lost forests. So
I'm a big, that part of the thing I'm really supportive of with my background in forestry and agriculture. There's so much opportunities for us to really kind of use that as to kind of help us become more climate friendly and sustainable. There's a lot of good opportunities there, and I would definitely like to see that.
Before you go, someone pointed out to me, we don't have the name of the speaker before Noreen. Mark Perez. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Judy. I'm also in support of the CLCPA, and I'm speaking to you with respect to the total cost of ownership. Now, if we look at Henrietta community, we've seen huge increases in energy bill because of energy systems highly dependent on natural gas for both heating and electricity. The price of natural gas has risen sharply due to international geopolitics. AI, data centers, and other forces increasing demand for energy beyond control. Now, when you look at the cost of ownership of natural gas with respect to renewable energy over a period of, say, 20 years, you find that the upfront cost for regular energy is cheaper, but over a period of, say, 20 years, 30 years, when you do the comparison, it's cheaper to go renewable. So I really want us to consider the policy framework, looking at the technology available currently, and also the technology that will improve the system to encourage renewable energy, clean energy for the New York State. So I really want the policymaker to consider this policy and look at the total cost of ownership over a long period of time that is more advantageous, cheaper than the regular energy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. So we have an executive session regarding information related to the investigation of a criminal offense, which would imperil effective law enforcement if disclosed. So we will be adjourning to executive session. We will not be returning to open session. We will just adjourn directly from the executive session. So I make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
Hearing no objections, meeting adjourned to executive session.